instruction, just making sure Caleb's back, only a certain number of voices in here, and is that already worked out? Is that being worked out kind of at the start of the offseason?
I think all of it is kind of being worked out as we go. We have started into that process. We got all the players in, and so been able to spend a little bit of time with the quarterbacks as they've come in here, and really that starts with Ben deciding who's going to be leading that charge. Obviously, it's going to start at the very top with him. JT is involved, and then obviously myself, Press Taylor, we're kind of trying to be supplemental in some ways, and really that's the plan right now is us kind of unified and working with him.
Do you have a sense of what unique things JT brings to the table, what unique things Press does, and obviously yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously this is the first time that the three of us, the four of us with Ben, have worked together. JT sees the game from a quarterback's perspective. He's a young guy in it, but also he thinks from Caleb's perspective in some ways as a teacher. Press obviously has been a coordinator in the league. He's called plays. He sees the game that way. And then obviously, with Ben's experience and being able to kind of lead, the implementation of the offense itself. Everybody has, their own background that they're bringing to it, but I think we all have a hand in implementing Ben's vision.
Declan, in these very early stages of working with Ben, what's left an impression on you about his vision for planting the seeds for where this offense can start?
Okay, so I would say really from a organizational perspective, Ben has a very, very high standard every day. The unique thing about Ben is obviously you guys see it at times just in his media stuff, but Ben has an edge to him. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he really holds everybody in the building to a very high standard at all times. And really that's going to start when we get to spend a little more time with our players next week. But overall, he does an excellent job of, hey, it shouldn't be comfortable. It shouldn't feel like, we're walking in here every day and we're just, just going step by step. It's really like, hey, we need to feel some pressure here to be able to learn it as quickly as we can, to be able to adapt. Same thing from a coaching standpoint, and then same thing from, upstairs with the front office. But he's doing a great job of really holding that standard for the whole organization.
How do you guys go about making it hard or feeling that pressure? Because we've heard that from the beginning of this regime.
Yeah. I think that's an attitude and that's a standard. The behavior that you walk by, becomes the standard that you accept, and that's the new standard. Really, it's you're coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And so every single thing that we're doing on a daily basis has to be held to that standard. And that's really a high level of communication from Ben at the very top to explain his vision to us, and then us holding our players, our other coaches accountable to that standard.
How do you feel like the players have responded to that? Like it's been an adjustment to them?
I think they're very hungry for that coaching. I think they're very excited about Ben. He walks into his first meeting and he is impactful when he speaks. I think they are really excited for a little bit of a change, and they're excited to meet that challenge. That's been my experience with the full group and the quarterbacks as well.
What are your first impressions of Caleb as a person and a player getting to work with him?
I think Caleb is hungry for growth. I think that obviously the sky's the limit with his athletic ability, with his talent, but being around him, just the person himself, I think he really wants to do well. I think he wants to be great. I think it's really important to him, and he's been very open to accepting feedback, accepting coaching, and really starting to build that relationship where we're going to be able to build this thing and really hit his ceiling.
After watching Ben's offense in Detroit, what kind of stands out about what he's able to do over there?
I think stress the defense on every snap. I think that's the number one thing. The offense is built to put pressure on defenses in a number of ways. That could be how we align. That could be the tempo we're using. That's what stands out, first and foremost. And then secondly, the commitment to the detail and the fundamentals. We were sitting in an offensive staff meeting, and he was talking about the secret sauce is not scheme. The secret sauce is the commitment to the fundamentals and the fact that we're gonna uphold this standard every single day when we come in here. And that's what stands out on the tape is you see exactly what they were coaching, and it shows up on the tape.
Coach, as you guys get settled in and then going forward, from your own personal perspective, how do you view your role on the staff and what would be your priorities on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I view my role as a supplement to everybody else in our building. We're all working in the same direction. I'm a supplement to Ben from the offensive standpoint. When he steps out or when he can't do things, I need to step in and be that that offensive mind or that person leading that meeting. As far as Caleb's development, same thing. You know, obviously the four of us are kind of working together on that. Working with Ryan and his group, my role is to help give them a vision as far as how we would use these players, where they would fit in our scheme, and do a really good job. Like the biggest thing is communication across the board. We all got to be on the same page, and so kind of playing a lot of you have to step into a lot of different roles and embrace that. But you know that's my role here.
There's a conversation about from Ben about Caleb playing more under center this season. What do you foresee as the biggest hurdle that he's going to have to go through to get comfortable being under center?
Yeah, I think when they asked Ben that, he said reps. You know, we just have to time on task, be able to do some of that stuff. I think that it provides value in a lot of the offensive stuff that you're doing, just because a defense, it's another variable that they have to be able to prepare for. It also marries into some of our action passes and kind of how we're going to want to run our offense. And so giving him reps at that and seeing if that's something that he can get comfortable in and that we feel like he can operate and try to be the best in the world at it. And if it's not something that fits, then you know maybe we're pivoting and we're moving in a different direction. But certainly asking him to do that, I think, is going to be important here early to figure it out.
In making the offensive vision come to life, how do you describe the value of what you guys accomplished in securing the interior of the offensive line with those 3 additions in a couple of days there?
So I think that that was an area that we really wanted to make an improvement. Coming in here, evaluating, the first thing we did was every position coach evaluated his room. I evaluated the whole unit, and that was something that we wanted to be really aggressive about in free agency, and that was kind of the vision going in with Ryan and his staff. I think it helps immensely. You know, obviously you add Joe Tooney and the leadership that he brings to the room. He's a guy with skins on the wall who's had success in the league. You know, you bring in Drew, and Drew can take pressure off of Caleb in some ways because he can help with some of the communication. All right, and then you know, obviously Jonah getting added as well. We're really excited about all 3 of those guys, and you know, obviously we had that opportunity as with free agents to kind of add, and we're going to have an opportunity here again in the draft.
What's up?
How are you?
What y'all doing? Great. I am great.
What's it like to be here wearing a Bears hoodie and being back in Chicago?
It is pretty cool. Yeah, I can't express it enough just being back. And being in the Bears hoodie is pretty cool. And it's just, you know, growing up and watching the Bears and rooting for them when we're not playing them type deal. So it's always been a thing for me to get back here, and the way it happened was pretty good. So I'm excited, and I'm thankful more than anything.
What is it about?
Go ahead, Neil.
What is it about your connection with Ben that has worked for you guys?
I think it goes back to we expect the same things in terms of the hard work, the details of different things. Family men, like we both love the Lord. We share the word, so it's a spiritual component there as well. So that's where it comes from, and that's kind of for me where it started. We had friends who that we acquaint that we know, and then I didn't know he was connected to them, so it was it just kept unraveling when we first met, when we first got to Detroit. So it was like, all right, this is pretty cool, and it just went on from there. And then the last 4 years that we had together was pretty big in terms of us building something, and that's what we did, and you know, it was time to move on.
Antwaan, on top of the vibes of coming back to Chicago, how do you describe the opportunity that you guys sense is here with this team and a chance to do what you did in Detroit?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we know coming in, it's not what it was in Detroit. When we got to Detroit, it was bare, so to speak, and that's not that here. Like we got guys that are hungry and guys that can play like right off the bat. So it's up to us as coaches to get these guys going and put them in a place where they can be successful, and that's our goal. Like it's not going to be easy for the coaches, and we're not going to make it easy on our players by any means. Like we got to get after it. So when September comes, like we have a group that is ready to roll, and not just a game here or a game there. It's got to be sustainable.
What excites you about the top two guys in your room with Rome and DJ and what they can count?
Well, with DJ, it's just he's done it. Like in terms of like he's played the position over and over again. You know, he's a veteran, and he is the guy. Like we can get him the ball in a lot of different ways. Like I see this dude. I see him in a lot of ways. It's not just you see a lot of times he's catching these screens, but he can run routes. Like he can come inside and do some things too. So I'm excited about that. And then with Rome, the biggest thing with Rome is like he has the height, and as tall as he is, the length that he has, he can drop his weight and get in and out of his route. So that was good to see. And he was one of my top guys the previous year. Everybody had Harrison, I think, first, and then the kid Neighbors, who's at New York. But I had Rome first, so it's good. And I called his coach, Shep, who was in Washington. Can we get him? And then it didn't work out in Detroit, but I'm glad he's here because here we go. So yeah, excited about those two guys. And I'm not gonna keep harping on them because the rest of our room is they are going to be able to compete and get us where we need to go as well. So I mean, Rome and DJ certainly gonna lead that up, but we got some other cats that's gonna help us out for sure.
With DJ playing, with as many years as DJ's played, how do you get him, like, how do you set a goal for somebody who's already, like, his baseline is probably already so far beyond guys who are trying to develop? Like, what goals do you set for somebody who's, you know, in year 7 or whatever it is for him?
Well, what you do is you go back and you watch the film and you see how can you make this player better, like no matter what they've done, whether it's the way they run routes and how they get to the route. But then in terms of the goals, like you look at what they've done, like DJ hadn't won yet. And when I say he hadn't won consistently, being in the playoffs and those type things. So he still needs to get ready for that. And it's a mindset that I've been in terms of me playing as a player, as a coach. And now, like, man, we got to get you to this point. So he's hungry for that. So I can just feed into it and just continue to build him up. And that's the thing. Like, how do we get you to the next level in terms of being that playoff receiver who's dominating, and now you get an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl, and here we go. But here's the deal, like, he hadn't been there, but I know when he has that opportunity, he'll take full advantage of it, but it's about just getting him there. And again, it's not all about DJ from any standpoint, but it's about, man, a veteran like that, he hadn't done it yet, but he's excited to get to work so he can get to that point.
How do you coach accountability? How do you hold players accountable, and what's kind of your style?
You don't accept anything but what your expectation is. The minute it's outside of that, you have to address it. That's period. That's not the wide receiver room. That's the running back room. That's the quarterback. That's defense, linebackers. Like, you have an expectation. This is what it is, and this is what it has to be. If it's anything else, then it needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with right then. Because if not, it just festers, and then you got to deal with. You got other guys in your room who looking at you as a coach, like, are you gonna say something? Are you gonna do something? And when you don't, then it's like, all right, what your expectations are not really the expectations, and we can't operate like that.
You talked about being excited that you're back here. People in your life who are still here. Reaction.
So I see my parents twice a week. And it's been really good. I try to see them more, but it is an hour and 20 minutes, whatever it's away. And with work, that's tough. It's going to be even tougher when my wife and kids get here because the kids got games, and I'm still dating my wife. With 23 years, we are still dating, so it means a lot. But it's exciting to be back here. I got a 96-year-old grandmother. I got an 85-year-old grandmother. Like, I got some folks here, and it's great. And that's just the family. A slew of uncles and aunts and cousins, so they're very excited as well, along with some friends. But for me, I got a wife, and I got kids, and I got a job, so have some borders and boundaries that go along with that. But it's good. It's good. It's going to be some things that we can make in terms of events that we just couldn't make as it relates to the family and stuff like that.
Can the folks drive to you, or do you have to go to them?
Well, they can drive to me, to the games, and we gonna have stuff at the house like we've always done. But I got to be careful because I got some cousins. It be 6 a.m. They just be knocking at the door. And I still love them the same, but that's That's my fan. It's gonna be a good time, that's for sure.
Are you the best basketball player still in this building right now?
Well, right now, I have not won a jump shot contest yet. Yes, I've lost. So I'm like 0 for 4 or something. But that'll change because I've been working out and lifting. So I'm gonna blame it on that. I'm gonna make an excuse this one time.
There's a hoop in the locker room usually.
Well, we got one over in the turf. The couple of coaches we go out there and try to get out there a little bit, just shooting.
Okay.
Now if we put the ball on the ground a little bit, then it'd be different. No shot, but
Best baseball player in that building?
I would say so. Yeah. Ben's been, he can throw a little bit. We'll see this weekend coming up. I just put the pressure on you, Ben.
Do you feel like being back home, being back around within an hour drive of such a close support system is gonna elevate you as a coach this season?
I don't know about the elevation, the support system, and when I say that, I don't mean negative in any way. It's just we're an hour and so away, and my wife and kids, they're rolling. They got classes and they got sports and stuff. But it is good just to like I got my cousin Kenny right there. Like I got cats that I grew up with that I can call on if I need for whatever. So it's just a matter. I think that's the comfort level that you normally don't have. And I can see my grandmother. I can go see both of them, things like that. And obviously seeing my parents often. It's a plus. It's a big deal for me for sure.
What are your core memories as a Bears fan as a kid? What do you remember most?
Always remember the Super Bowl shuffle. I remember that, and I just remember the fridge and like for me it's like I was Willie Gault. I was the Gentry. Like I had a chance, and we played Tecmo Bowls with those guys. So it was a big deal. So those are the memories. Really, it was the Super Bowl years, and even coming up, like it was just like, man, because I always wanted to go pro on whatever came first as it relates to the sport. And I was like, man, could I ever play for the Bears? Like that was always a deal. Now that didn't happen. It almost happened somewhere between there, but I ended up going to Washington. But anywho, man, it's always been just going up and watching them. It's that Super Bowl and the shuffle and all that stuff, and singing it and hanging out with it was always a good deal.
You've accomplished a ton in your career. Was there any bit of, when you first walked in here, did you allow yourself to be sentimental about?
I had to try not to because I wanted to get focused and locked in, but it just catches up with you, just in terms of like it was just not weird. It was just like, oh man, this is really happening. Like this is it. So I would say not sentimental. It was just so cool. Like this is it. And yeah, so I mean that's as far as it went. Had to shut it off to kind of get focused because, like I said, we got a lot of work to do.
Coach, you're a very intense coach. You can be stern with some of your players. I think back to a clip of you and Jameson on the sideline, and you was upset with him about whatever. What goes into one, identifying the players who need that type of coaching, and two, building the relationship so that when you have to do that, they don't take that with them as the only message?
I think you start with the second question, the building of the relationship. Like, you can't come in and coach somebody hard or coach somebody soft if you don't know them and build that relationship. And I shouldn't say soft because that's never happening. But just from a standpoint, the building relationship part, like that's where it starts. And not just about, knowing where they went to school and that type deal, but it's getting to know them. And the moment I signed, I called DJ first, I called Rome, and I kind of went from there and start calling the other guys as it relates to what it looks like and not what to expect, but man, what's up? Like they were welcoming me, and coach, man, get me right, like that type deal. And the relationship just begins there. So you start with that, and then you know how to push his buttons a certain way. Then this is how you get him going. This is how you need to leave that alone because of this or because of that. But you figure that out. But it starts with the relationship part. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.